issue and adopted a couple of resolutions in 2007, 2008, a report on free movement in which it requests the Commission to assess the implementation of the Directive of Free Movement by Member States and the problems entailed in the transposition. I will mention just a couple of obstacles that we have seen people face in trying to exercise their right to free movement. One of them is that Member States interpret in a restrictive way the notion of family member or of any other family member or of a partner. There are different various interpretations. So accordingly to this various interpretation, there are problems in the right of free movement for same-sex partners or for families who have members not European citizens. Another problem is that there are member states who are imposing unjustified administrative burden in respect to the entry and residence of the third country family members. Citizens are often required to submit to the authorities of the host member state unjustified additional documents which are not provided by the directive. We also have seen that the interpretation of, and I quote, sufficient resources is often unclear, so some people are, let's say, kicked out for not having sufficient resources. But the interpretation of this notion is also unclear, and most member states require that evidence of sufficient resources to be given. This is not under the directive. And the notion also of unreasonable burden to the social assistance system of the host member state. And if and in what cases the decision to expel a union citizen who has become an unreasonable burden is also in many member states uncertain as well. The Parliament invited the Commission to assess these laws in member states and practices and to ensure that material and procedural safeguards, protection and judicial redress against expulsions are properly in place and functioning. Another problem we have seen in the implementation of this right is the interpretation, which varies in member states, about serious or imperative grounds of public policy and public security, and in what cases and on what grounds it can justify an expulsion order. This is also unclear and lead to abuse, targeting to particular citizens of a certain ethnicity, as we have seen in various member states. Or also, for example, we had a case of automatic expulsion mechanism trying to be put in place, which is obvious illegal. At the same time, the Parliament already noted that serious discriminations occurred in the application of free movement. Nationals of some member states and ethnic communities, such as Roma, this is the most famous one, appear to be targeted in some member states. I will briefly mention another problem we have found. This is the need for a proper methodology to ensure implementation. So for member states, the authorities to understand or to have a unified procedure how to apply this right of free movement for European citizens. We, the Parliament, requested to the Commission to develop and to present to the Parliament a consistent enforcement policy ensuring the application of rights of free movement, which is what the Commission seems to be doing now with the project of a roadmap for implementation, and I particularly welcome this. And also we asked the Commission to require from Member States reports including statistic data, because it's more hearsay and we need to base our evaluation on statistic data. In conclusion, a few words. This case of discriminatory expulsions of Roma from France, which amounts to a violation of the Free Movement Directive, as stated by the Parliament in its recent resolution from 9th of November. We need monitoring, we need guidance, and strong and loyal EU member states cooperation to have correct implementation of this directive and repeal and reform the incorrect transposition laws or abusive practices. At the same time, the Commission, which is the guardian of the treaties, the Parliament has very high expectations from the Commission, and notably from Commissioner Reding. After having monitored, analyzed, guided and cooperated with Member States, the Commission has to have the courage to bring to the court those Member States who are not applying correctly this directive, because it is a fundamental right for the European Union, and it is something which stayed at the basis of the idea of Europe from the very beginning. And it's a pity, especially in crisis times, to go back and not to look forward. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.